Hey Capricorn, I just pulled some cards for you, and honestly, the energy here is something else. Let me share what came through because this reading is really about making things right and the prosperity that follows when you do. So the first card that showed up is the Ace of Wands, and I have to tell you, this is pure creative fire energy coming your way. This card is about new beginnings, fresh starts, and the universe basically handing you a spark of inspiration. For you, Capricorn, this is telling me that there is a massive shift happening in how you approach opportunities. You have been thinking about something for a while now. Maybe a project, maybe a relationship situation, maybe something you left unfinished in the past. The Ace of Wands is saying that you are getting a divine download of courage and initiative to actually do something about it. This is not just about thinking anymore, this is about action. The wand in this card represents your willpower and your ability to manifest things into reality. I feel like you have been holding back because of fear or doubt or maybe past failures. But this card is screaming that you need to grab this opportunity with both hands. The universe is literally lighting a fire under you right now. What I find fascinating about this card showing up first is that it represents pure potential energy. You know when you feel that tingling sensation that something big is about to happen? That is exactly what this card brings. For Capricorn specifically, you guys are known for being careful and methodical, always planning everything out. But the Ace of Wands wants you to be a little more spontaneous, a little more willing to take risks. There is something from your past that you need to revisit, but not with the old energy you had before. You need to approach it with this fresh, bold, courageous energy. Maybe it is reaching out to someone you wronged. Maybe it is restarting a business venture that failed. Maybe it is going back to school for something you abandoned. Whatever it is, the fire is here now and you need to strike while the iron is hot. This card also talks about passion and enthusiasm, which tells me that when you do take this step to make things right, you are going to feel so alive, like genuinely excited about life again. I keep getting the message that this is connected to your integrity and doing what is morally right, which is very important for your soul growth, Capricorn. The Ace of Wands does not mess around. It brings swift changes and opportunities that you cannot afford to ignore. Moving on to the second card, we have the Five of Wands. And okay, this is interesting because it is showing me conflict and competition energy. But here is the thing. I do not think this is necessarily negative in your situation. The Five of Wands shows five people all holding wands and kind of battling or competing with each other, but nobody is actually getting hurt. This tells me that the process of making things right from your past is going to involve some friction. There might be disagreements. There might be people who do not understand why you are doing what you are doing. There might be internal conflict within yourself about the right approach. But you know what, Capricorn? This card is saying that this conflict is actually necessary for your growth. Sometimes we need a little bit of chaos to shake things up and force us to see different perspectives. I feel like there are multiple ways you could approach making amends for whatever happened in the past, and you are going to have to sort through different opinions and viewpoints. Maybe some people are telling you to just let it go and move on, while others are encouraging you to face it head on. The Five of Wands represents that mental and emotional wrestling match you are going through. What I love about this card, though, is that it shows everyone is still standing. Nobody has fallen down, nobody has given up. This tells me that even though the process might be uncomfortable and challenging, you have the strength to get through it. For Capricorns, you guys sometimes struggle with asking for help or admitting when you are wrong because you have this image of being strong and capable. But the Five of Wands is telling you that it is okay to be in the mess right now. It is okay to not have all the answers figured out. The competition aspect of this card could also mean that you are competing with your own past self, your own ego, your own pride. There is a part of you that wants to just pretend nothing happened and keep moving forward, but there is another part that knows you need to go back and clean up whatever mess was left behind. This internal conflict is real and valid. What is cool about the Five of Wands is that it often represents brainstorming and testing different strategies. So you might try one approach to making things right and it does not work, so then you try another approach, and then another. This is all part of the process. The friction you encounter is actually refining your character and teaching you important lessons about humility and accountability. The third card is the Knight of Pentacles, and oh wow, this is your energy, Capricorn. Like literally, this knight represents everything you stand for. The Knight of Pentacles is steady, reliable, hardworking, methodical, and committed to seeing things through to the end. But here is what is interesting in this reading context. The Knight of Pentacles is slow. This is not a quick fix situation. Making things right from your past is going to require patience and consistent effort over time. You cannot just show up once, say sorry, and expect everything to be magically fixed. No, you are going to have to prove yourself through your actions, day after day after day. The Knight of Pentacles is about building trust through reliability. If you broke someone's trust in the past, you need to show them through concrete actions over an extended period that you have changed. If you left a project incomplete, you need to dedicate yourself to finishing it properly, even if it takes months or years. This card is telling me that prosperity is definitely coming, but it is the result of this slow, steady, dedicated work you are about to put in. Pentacles represent the material world, money, career, tangible results. So whatever you are trying to make right, there is a financial or career component to it. Maybe you owed someone money. Maybe you damaged a business relationship. Maybe you made poor financial decisions that affected others. The Knight of Pentacles says you can repair all of this, but you have to be willing to do the work. No shortcuts, no easy way out. I also feel like this card is telling you to create a practical plan. Knights are action-oriented, but the Pentacles suit is about being grounded and realistic. So sit down and actually map out the steps you need to take to make amends. Write it down, create a timeline, set achievable goals. This is very Capricorn energy, and you are going to excel at this part. The Knight of Pentacles also represents mastery and expertise. Whatever field you work in or whatever situation you are trying to fix, you have accumulated wisdom and skills that you did not have before. You are not the same person who made those mistakes. You have grown, you have learned, you have matured. This card is confirmation that you now have what it takes to handle things properly. The fourth card is the Two of Swords, and this is about decision-making and mental clarity. I am seeing someone blindfolded holding two swords crossed in front of their heart. This tells me, Capricorn, that there is a decision you have been avoiding. Maybe you know deep down what you need to do to make things right, but you have been in denial, or you have been pretending you do not see the situation clearly. The blindfold in the Two of Swords represents willful ignorance. You could remove the blindfold and see the truth, but part of you is scared of what you will find. The two swords represent a dilemma, a choice between two paths. Do you go back and face your past, or do you keep moving forward and pretend it never happened? Do you reach out to that person, or do you leave them alone? Do you admit your mistakes publicly, or keep them private? These are the kinds of questions this card brings up. What I find really important here is that the person in the card is protecting their heart. Those crossed swords are right over the chest area. This tells me that whatever happened in your past hurt you too. Maybe you hurt others, but you also got hurt in the process. Maybe the reason you do not want to go back and make things right is because you are afraid of reopening old wounds. You are protecting yourself from more pain, but here is what the Two of Swords is really saying. That blindfold has to come off eventually. You cannot stay in this state of indecision forever. The universe is going to force your hand at some point, so you might as well take the blindfold off yourself and make the choice consciously. When this card shows up, it is often a sign that you already know what the right decision is. You just do not want to accept it yet. Your intuition is telling you what needs to be done, but your ego or your fear is trying to block it out. For Capricorns, you guys are usually very decisive and clear-headed, but when it comes to emotional matters or situations where you have to admit fault, you can become paralyzed. The Two of Swords is asking you to find that mental clarity again. Maybe you need to meditate on this. Maybe you need to journal about it. Maybe you need to talk it through with a trusted friend or therapist. But sitting on the fence is no longer an option. Card number 5 is the Three of Pentacles, and yes, this is such a positive card for collaboration and teamwork. The Three of Pentacles shows a craftsman working on a cathedral while others watch and provide input. This tells me that making things right is not something you have to do alone. In fact, you need other people's help and perspectives to do this properly. Maybe you need to bring in a mediator if there was conflict with someone. Maybe you need professional help like a therapist or counselor to work through your guilt or shame. Maybe you need business partners or colleagues to help you rebuild something that fell apart. The Three of Pentacles is about skilled work and mastery, but done in a collaborative environment. This card is telling me that the people around you are willing to help you make amends and create something better than what existed before. You know what I love about the Three of Pentacles? It represents recognition and respect. When you do finally complete this work of making things right, people are going to acknowledge your efforts. They are going to see that you are not just talking about change, you are actually implementing it. This card often shows up when someone is building their reputation back up after it took a hit. For Capricorns, your reputation and professional image are super important to you. If something from your past damaged how people perceive you, the Three of Pentacles promises that you can rebuild that respect through quality work and consistent effort. This is not about PR or image management. This is about genuinely becoming a better person and letting your actions speak for themselves. I also feel like this card is connected to learning new skills. Maybe part of making things right involves educating yourself about something you were ignorant about before. Maybe you need to learn better communication skills, or conflict resolution techniques, or financial management, or whatever is relevant to your situation. The Three of Pentacles encourages you to be a student again, to be humble enough to admit you do not know everything and you need guidance. This collaborative energy is so important because it keeps you accountable and prevents you from slipping back into old patterns. The sixth card is the Three of Swords, and okay, I need to be honest with you, Capricorn. This card is about heartbreak and pain. The imagery shows three swords piercing through a heart against a stormy background. This tells me that whatever happened in your past caused real emotional damage, either to yourself or to others, or both. The Three of Swords does not sugarcoat things. It represents grief, sorrow, betrayal, separation, all the heavy emotional stuff we try to avoid. But here is why this card is showing up in your reading about making things right. You have to acknowledge the pain that was caused. You cannot just skip over it or minimize it. If you hurt someone, you need to truly understand the depth of that hurt. If someone hurt you, you need to honor your own pain and not just pretend you are over it when you are not. The Three of Swords is one of those cards that makes people uncomfortable because nobody wants to sit with painful emotions, but this is exactly what the card is asking you to do. Sit with it, feel it, process it, let it move through you. Only then can real healing begin. For Capricorns, you guys have a tendency to intellectualize emotions rather than actually feeling them. You will analyze and strategize and problem solve, but you will avoid the messy emotional experience itself. The Three of Swords is saying, nope. You have to go there. You have to let yourself cry or rage or grieve or whatever you need to do. This card also represents truth and clarity that comes from pain. Sometimes we need our hearts to break open so that light can get in. Sometimes we need to hit rock bottom before we are willing to make real changes. The stormy sky in this card tells me that this emotional turbulence is temporary. Storms pass. Pain lessens over time. But you have to go through it, not around it. I feel like part of your journey of making things right involves having some difficult conversations where painful truths are going to come out. Maybe someone needs to tell you how badly you hurt them. Maybe you need to tell someone how their actions affected you. These conversations are not going to be comfortable, but they are absolutely necessary. The Three of Swords can also represent heartbreak that leads to liberation. Sometimes we need to break old patterns, old relationships, old ways of being that were not serving us. The pain of that breaking open is what allows new growth. Seventh card is the Eight of Wands, and whoa, this is fast-moving energy. The Eight of Wands shows 8 wands flying through the air toward a destination. This represents swift action, rapid developments, things moving quickly once they start. After all the processing and planning from the previous cards, this card is saying that once you actually take action to make things right, events are going to unfold fast. Like things that you thought would take months might happen in weeks. Messages might fly back and forth quickly, decisions might be made rapidly, obstacles might clear faster than expected. The Eight of Wands is airborne, which means there is nothing blocking the progress anymore. All those delays and hesitations are gone, and now you are in motion. For Capricorns who are used to slow and steady progress, this might actually feel a little overwhelming or destabilizing. You might feel like things are moving too fast and you do not have full control. But the Eight of Wands is asking you to trust the momentum and go with the flow. This is divine timing at work. The universe has been preparing you for this moment, and now everything is aligning. I also feel like this card represents communication and messages. Maybe you are going to reach out to someone from your past and they respond much quicker than you expected. Maybe news travels fast about the changes you are making. Maybe opportunities start pouring in once word gets out about your commitment to doing better. The Eight of Wands can also mean travel or movement, so perhaps making things right requires you to physically go somewhere, to show up in person rather than hiding behind texts or emails. This card has such positive forward momentum energy. It is telling me that once you commit to this path of making amends and creating positive change, the universe is going to support you with almost magical synchronicities and perfect timing. Things are going to fall into place in ways you could not have orchestrated yourself. The eighth card is the Ten of Cups, and oh my goodness, Capricorn, this is your reward. The Ten of Cups is literally the happily ever after card of the tarot. It shows a family standing together under a rainbow, with 10 cups arcing across the sky. This represents emotional fulfillment, harmonious relationships, lasting happiness, dreams coming true. The fact that this card is showing up in your reading tells me that making things right from your past is going to lead to incredible emotional and relational abundance. Maybe you are going to restore a broken relationship, and it becomes even stronger than before. Maybe you are going to create a new family dynamic that is healthy and supportive. Maybe you are going to build a community or team that feels like home. The Ten of Cups is about wholeness. It is about feeling complete and satisfied at a soul level. For Capricorns, you guys often focus so much on external achievement and material success that you neglect the emotional and relational aspects of life. But this card is promising you that when you prioritize doing the right thing and healing your past, the emotional rewards are going to be off the charts. I feel like this card is also connected to legacy and what you leave behind. The family in the Ten of Cups is often interpreted as generations, as creating something that lasts beyond your own lifetime. So making things right now is not just about your immediate situation, it is about breaking cycles and creating new patterns that will benefit people in your life for years to come. The rainbow in this card is significant because rainbows only appear after storms. You have been through the storm of the Three of Swords, and now you get the rainbow. The pain was not meaningless. It was leading you to this beautiful outcome. The Ten of Cups also represents alignment between your outer life and your inner values. When you make choices based on integrity and doing what is right rather than what is easy or profitable, you create this sense of deep peace and contentment that no amount of money or status can buy. Card number 9 is the Seven of Wands, and this shows me that even as you are doing this good work of making amends, there might be people who challenge you or question your motives. The Seven of Wands shows a person standing on higher ground defending themselves against 6 other wands coming from below. This is about standing your ground and defending your position. Maybe some people are going to be skeptical about your efforts to make things right. Maybe they think you are doing it for selfish reasons, or that you do not really mean it. Maybe you are going to face criticism from unexpected sources. But the Seven of Wands is telling you to stay strong and keep going anyway. You know your truth. You know your intentions. And you do not need everyone's approval or understanding. This card represents courage and perseverance in the face of opposition. For Capricorns, you are already pretty good at this because you have that mountain goat energy of climbing upward no matter what obstacles are in your way. The Seven of Wands is confirmation that you have the stamina and determination to see this through even when it gets hard. What I find interesting is that the person in the Seven of Wands is on higher ground, which represents having the moral high ground. When you are doing the right thing for the right reasons, you have an advantage that your critics do not have. You have truth and integrity on your side. This card can also represent defending others who cannot defend themselves. Maybe part of making things right involves speaking up for someone who was wronged, or protecting someone vulnerable, or using your voice and platform for good. The Seven of Wands asks you to be brave and not back down when things get uncomfortable. This is your opportunity to show what you are really made of. The 10th and final card is prosperity and abundance in the form of emotional and spiritual wealth that comes from living with integrity. Actually, wait, the 10th card is the 10 of Cups, which I already discussed, so let me look at this again. I pulled 10 specific cards for you, and I need to check what the last one is based on the numbers I was given. The positions are 232, 7766, 252, 675, 33, 0462, 9, which correspond to Ace of Wands, 5 of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, 2 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, 8 of Wands, 10 of Cups, 7 of Wands. So all 10 cards have been covered. Capricorn, let me bring this all together for you. The cards are showing me a clear journey from inspiration and new beginnings with the Ace of Wands. through the challenges and conflicts of the Five of Wands, the steady, dedicated work of the Knight of Pentacles, the decision-making clarity of the Two of Swords, the collaborative rebuilding with the Three of Pentacles, the necessary pain processing of the Three of Swords, the rapid momentum of the Eight of Wands, the ultimate emotional fulfillment of the Ten of Cups, the courageous defense of your values with the Seven of Wands, and the swift action of the Knight of Swords. Wait, I need to recount because I want to make sure I covered all 10 cards properly. Let me list them. 1 Ace of Wands, 2 5 of Wands, 3 Knight of Pentacles, 4 Two of Swords, 5 Three of Pentacles, 6 Three of Swords, 7 Eight of Wands, 8 Ten of Cups, 9 Seven of Wands, and the 10th card is Seven of Wands. No, wait, that is only 9 unique cards. Let me check the positions again. The positions given were 2 3, 2 7, 7 6 6, 2 5, 2 6 7 5 3 3 0 4 6 2 9, which is 10 positions. So I need to identify card number 62, which is Knight of Swords, that I have not fully discussed yet. The Knight of Swords is the 10th card, and this is about swift action and cutting through confusion with clarity and truth. The Knight of Swords charges forward on horseback with his sword raised, representing someone who is direct, honest, and unafraid to speak difficult truths. In the context of your reading about making things right, this card is telling me that there comes a point where you need to just do it. No more overthinking, no more preparing, no more waiting for the perfect moment. The Knight of Swords energy is about being decisive and bold. This knight is associated with air element and mental clarity, so when you do finally take action to make amends, you need to do it with clear communication and honest expression. No beating around the bush, no sugarcoating things. Just direct and authentic conversation about what happened and how you want to make it better. For Capricorns, you sometimes struggle with vulnerability and emotional expression because you like to maintain that composed exterior. But the Knight of Swords is asking you to be real, even if it feels uncomfortable. This card can also represent cutting away what no longer serves you. Maybe part of making things right means ending relationships or situations that are toxic or holding you back from growth. The sword is a tool of discernment and boundary setting. You might need to cut ties with people who do not support your growth or who keep pulling you back into old patterns. The Knight of Swords moves fast and does not look back, which tells me that once you make your move to correct past mistakes, you need to commit fully and not second-guess yourself constantly. Trust that you have done your due diligence. You have thought things through with the Two of Swords. You have made your plan with the Knight of Pentacles. And now it is time to execute with the swift precision of the Knight of Swords. So, Capricorn, these 10 cards together paint a picture of a powerful transformation journey. You are being called to make things right from your past. And when you do, prosperity in all forms is going to flow into your life. Not just money, but emotional richness, deep relationships, inner peace, and a sense of purpose. The shocking news is that you actually have the power to change your trajectory completely by taking responsibility and making amends. The change that brings prosperity is not some external event happening to you. It is an internal shift happening within you that then ripples out to affect everything around you. Are you feeling this energy, Capricorn? Does this resonate with your situation? I would love to hear if these messages land for you, because the cards were really speaking clearly about this theme of redemption and making things right, leading to abundance.